Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are going to be watching this from. Welcome to In Conversation with MJ. Okay, what do you want to share, Vaishali?
Okay, I think when you talked about, just some people who are super prepared and they know exactly what they're going to do in 5, 10 years. That was me when I was like five. So I remember when I was five, my dad was like just telling me, why not think about being a doctor? Doctor seems cool. Um, and when I was five, I was like, yeah, I totally agree with you. And that has continued like till like last year. But the thing is, like last year we were having career talks and all that kind of things. So people came to talk about medicine, and I've always viewed medicine as some kind of goal, and it's been super idealistic for me. I've never realized what issues pursuing medicine might have. And for me, I think when Himani talked about all I want to be, anything but an architect, that kind of concept, that's for me with medicine. I've never considered any other option except for medicine or being a doctor. So I feel like I've subconsciously um, restricted myself into this field, which I have no idea about. So when they came to talk about the course, and a lot of people were saying how they've worked for 10 years, 15 years, and they're still earning not the best salary that like probably someone else in another field could earn. So it was kind of, and they said a lot of other things like about mental health, not having enough time, etc., etc. And for me, one of the things that really like got me a bit worried about my decision was that the rigidity of the field itself, how it's kind of, when you get into medicine, it's a bit hard to get out of it or to change your entire career in, after like 5 years of pursuing medicine. What if I decide this is not for me? So I think what I don't like is I'm pretty resistant to change. I don't like uncertainty. um, I think it's just a product of my, like, how I've grown as a person. I like to be very comfortable. I like to know this is what I'm doing. So it was kind of a huge blow to me, because suddenly I'm like, okay, I don't, yeah, I like medicine. I like being a doc. I like the idea. I think what I liked was the idea of being a doctor, but maybe not the entirety of the profession itself. So when I stopped to think about, okay, if not medicine, what else, I felt lost, because I suddenly felt like I didn't have a purpose in life. So that kind of really put things into perspective as of now, because I'm just like, what should I do? So yeah, I don't have a perfect answer for that yet, because it's kind of, I'm still trying to figure myself out. um, but yeah, I think the 5-year-old me still speaks that like I still want to be a doctor. I feel like I can't do anything other than being a doctor. But yeah, I think for me, what really I started questioning myself is, maybe I should stop limiting myself based on what other people tell me, based on what I've learned, like listened to like 10 years back. Stop doing that to myself, because in the process I've probably stopped discovering or exploring other things that might have interested me. So that's one perspective, like one thing I wanted to like talk about, because you spoke about it. And I think when I resonated with Shivanjani a lot, because from when I was in primary school, I was kind of like, I was good at academics. I was a very good leader. This, that, kind of a very perfect student. But then when I came out and I went into secondary school, suddenly I realized, I remember sitting in class, and they were like, my teacher was asking, has anyone has prior leadership experience? Anyone who was like, prefect in your school? And then almost three-quarters of the class stood up. And I remember feeling, oh, I think, like I said, it was a huge crush to my confidence when I was 13, knowing that from being a big sea in a small, big fish in a small sea, you suddenly become a small fish in a big sea. And I think that has continued throughout my education, like even now. um, I'm a JC student, JC2 in a Raffles institution. So there were a lot of people who are way, way better than me in terms of academics, and they somehow seem to manage it so well. So when you see yourself and you feel, okay, I'm not as good as them, does that make me inferior to them? I'm not sure. So I think it takes a huge crush on your self-esteem and my confidence as a person. So when I was in P6, when I was younger, I used to talk a lot. In the sense, I used to be a bit more extroverted, used to be more confident. I think it stemmed from the confidence itself. Like, I was young, didn't know anything else. I knew like a few people, and I was very confident in front of them. But as I grew older and I see this huge community um, who's doing the same things as me, better even, you kind of realize that, yeah, maybe I'm not as good as I think I was, or whatever I've been told, by my parents and all that kind of things. You kind of lose the confidence or the belief in you. And I felt that, I even felt that until like last year. But this year, somehow, I don't know what has changed in myself. I think I've realized that it's okay. You don't have to be the best in everything. Sometimes being the best in what you like, or you don't even need to be the best. In fact, I think being happy and being contented with what you have is it's something that I'm not coming to terms with. But yeah, that's what I've kind of realized also. It's okay. I'm never going to be, there's always going to be someone better than me. And, pitting myself against everyone else without realizing and whatever they go through also. Because to me, I know the 100% of what I go through. But what I'm seeing from them is that they have a great, way of leading. They are very, very good at academics. They're good at sports. They're good in, dance, etc., etc. But I don't know what they might be going through mentally, because I've heard a lot of my, like, these kind of people, they cry almost like every day. And I wouldn't want to be that, because I don't think I would be happy doing that. So that's kind of what I've realized. And yeah, I think that's kind of what I think I've grown into becoming a much more quieter, more reflective person from the P6, extrovert in me. But I think it's okay. I've just realized it's okay. And to realize that you don't have to be prepared and be perfectly organized in whatever you have to do in life. It's not a bad thing. And, there's always the aspect of learning from your experiences, learning from your mistakes, that I don't think I've experienced it as of now, in the sense, in a very severe scale, like what Himani might have gone through. But I think from hearing from people like her really just makes me think, reconsider twice before I take any
Mm.
decision like that. Because I mean, as much as the experience helped, I understand it's a very painful one. And I wouldn't want to like undergo so much if I realize that, yeah, it's, I can do something else. So yeah, that's kind of what. Yeah.
Great. A very quick reflection. By the way, for the people who are going to be watching this, Shivanjini is my daughter, right? She loves, she encourages me, okay? Whatever the bigger pain that I've gone through or going through, she kind of steps in. I should give that credit to Shivanjini. When you said about, I've been so outspoken, so energetic until primary, and then got into the bigger ocean, and then started feeling like a tiny little fish because there are so big, many giant sharks in that ocean, right? Uh, I don't know how the whole thing really worked out for you, but as an individual, when you started talking about, I was an extrovert. I have been very outspoken, and now in the last 1 2 years, I've been very quiet. Okay, I can see that because my son was, until his P6, I've been extremely energetic, extreme, just running behind, and then really controlling him had been such a difficult task. But of course, somehow I managed it. The reason why I said I manage it, because, well, even my wife will have some difficulty in getting him to do certain things in certain situations. At his P3 P4, I even used a masking tape to wrap his mouth. He was so bloody energetic, right? And you can see Shivanjani laughing at it, but she never saw those things happening. All kind of things. All of a sudden, when he moved to secondary, from secondary two onwards, I started seeing a totally different transformation happening. And towards sec three, sec four, and all, he was so quiet. And if I were to go and tell somebody that he was doing so much in the past early stages of his childhood, no one will believe. Even today, until today, no one will believe. Okay, so similar thing that you're talking about, it's a transformation. Okay, for me, when I am standing out and then seeing all these that are happening in various aspects, this is transformation. It's very wonderful. What you are going through, I know you don't like uncertainty. That's fine. Just take life as it comes. It's easy said than done, but I'm saying it from the angle of the tough situations that I have been going through. I'm just sharing that because of that. And one thing that I have to call out here, been hearing quite a lot from the motivational speakers. Let me just mention Tony Robbins here. Probably you guys know Tony Robbins. He's been a fantastic, phenomenal, motivational, inspirational. Well, motivation is one level. He is an influential person, inspirational person. When he talks about things, it brings so much of uh, tips and tricks that you can take and then apply to your own life. One thing that he says is every human being has 6 basic core needs, not wants, needs. They want everything to be certain. When COVID kicks in, they said, oh, I want it to be certain that I have to do all this that now I'm not able to do. So I'm worried. Okay. Um, but at the same time, uncertainty also is needed. He transforms the uncertainty into a way of calling it as variations. Like what Shivanjini said, stuck at home for 2, 3 months. Now I want to get out and then go to school. Previously, going to school, it was so stressful. I have to travel 1.5, 2 hours every day, up and down, 4 hours, and then I'm wasting time. But now, after being somewhere, boredom comes in. Once boredom kicks in, you want variety, you want variation, you want something that kicks give you a bit of a joy in an exploration. Something unknown, I still want to explore. Right. So that's a deviation of paradox of certainty versus uncertainty. Human needs definitely need both of them. And the other thing is significance. What you mentioned very clearly that you felt so significant until P6. When you got into Sec 1, you said, wow, I'm one in the many, just a droplet in the big ocean, right? So definitely the significance is a need. You were looking for that significance. How am I going to prove that I'm so and so? And the fourth thing comes is connection, connecting with people. When you start connecting with, this is where the transformation kicks in, where when you start connecting with people, when you go out and then knowing, hearing, good example. Today we are sharing, 3 of you already shared. And there are so much value that you can take from what the others just shared, right? Just within 1 hour. So this connection is what is going to take us in this new norm, new world, new digital economy, whatever that you call. Connection, without connection, things are not going to happen. And the last two are extremely important. The fifth item is growth. If we don't grow, an example given is a plant is planted, and if you are not really feeding what it needs, and if the plant is not growing, it's totally dead. Similarly, I have to develop myself. What age I am at is immaterial, right? I'm sure, Vaishali, your dad is studying something in some aspects and expanding himself. Jnana Selvan's dad is doing things in his own area and developing his knowledge. Same goes with Himani's dad. Well, of course, not letting out the moms. They are doing, and every day it's a kind of a new thing that they are exploring. The growth is definitely needed, and the expansion is definitely needed. And the last part is extremely important, very, very, very important as we go and when all these growths are happening, you got to contribute. You folks are wonderful. You are contributing in a way what you are doing as you go along. Shivanjini said that, oh, somebody comes to me and I help them out. And she needs to tune and she realizes that, oh, I'm going to be tuning this. Imani's, whatever that she had gone through, well, it's an experience that she shared here, and that's a contribution. We learn from it. I learn from it. And Vaishali, what you have gone through, you are telling yourself these are the things that is changing, and what you are going to be contributing at a stage to other people is that, hey, this is the mindset that I thought this is ideal, but I did not explore really. Is it really ideal? And again, it takes you back, and then you talked about purpose, and it connects you back to the ikigai chart that I just shared, right? Just go back, and then I'll probably send you the picture of it. Of course, you can Google it, but this particular one has everything in it. You don't need anybody to explain it. And you start to realize that I got to put all the four circles together and then start really looking myself at the center of these four circles. You said it very well. One very last point before we go to Jnana Selvan. You mentioned more about, hey, I'm seeing these folks who are really doing far better than me. Okay, probably I'll ask this question to all of you. Who do you want to be better than, and who are your reference points? Who do you think are your reference points?
Hi, let me share. So I really resonated with what Vaishali said because that's how I felt back when I was in JC as well. Because I was
Mhm.
seeing, because I was from NJC, so it consists of IP students as well as JE
Yeah,
students. So I was a JE student, and then when I saw myself against all the IP students, I was like, oh my God, they are far far better than how I am, and how do they do such things like they can balance their CCA and their studies so well, they're excelling. And why am I not unable to reach that level, or how can I reach that level? And there was this fear that, oh no, I'm not as competent as I thought I was. I'm lagging behind, and it took time. It wasn't something that I developed like in JC itself. I had to get out of JC, get into uni, and then through experience I learned that no one is a bigger competitor to myself than myself. So I should be only competing against myself. So every step that I take, as long as it's an improvement from what I was previously, I should be proud of myself. Because everybody has different experiences. They go through different things. I don't need to be comparing myself against some other person because their experience is going to be very different from mine. So as long as I see myself improving at every step that I take, I see myself getting somewhere, I will be happy and content. And it's not something that came overnight. It came through experiences and I don't know, 4 years of after I graduated JC, 2 years of uni, and then now I'm realizing it. I have to accept myself and improve myself. And then my biggest competitor is myself. So
thanks for
that's
sharing.
my answer to your question.
Thanks for sharing. What do others think? Very quickly, just take 30 seconds in the interest of time.
I'll go next. I personally think, like what Vaishali said, I don't have to be the best, and there's no need for me to be perfect or anything like that. But again, like what Himani said, I have to compete with myself, and like I'm pretty sure you've seen it. Like if I am better than what I did previously, if I'm doing better now, then I'm really really happy with myself, and that's the basic motivation for me to move on and continue working harder because I know, hey, I'm getting somewhere. So whatever I'm doing is paying off. So if I continue, I can get even further. So whatever I'm doing right now is like a stepping stone. You have to get somewhere, to get whatever wherever you want to, you have to start somewhere. So myself is the somewhere, and I just have to progress from my past self to know where I'm getting and how I'm getting there.
Good. Selvan being quiet, let's give him a chance to talk. Sorry to have put you so quiet and then listening. I know you have been listening. Yes, Selvan, what is one or two thoughts that you have here?
Basically, I have nothing to say much because everything that you guys have been saying is reflecting upon my life. So, whenever I hear these stories, I know that it is also going to happen to me because you see, during primary school, the same thing happened to me with what Vaishali has said, and during secondary school, the same thing happened to me when.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt you. One thing that probably your fan is somewhere there because I'm hearing
Okay, I'll
fan
off
noise.
my phone.
Okay, off the fan, and then just touch on your view about uh, who are you comparing yourself with, and then we will come to your full-blown time
Okay.
for you, right? Okay,
I compare myself with my father
okay,
because I compare myself with my father because um, when I reflect upon his life, I think it is similarly the same as mine because I take the same subjects as him. Uh, my parents are similarly like my grandparents, so I just want to be one step ahead of my father, become a better person than my father. Like what my father did not expect in his life, that I want him to expect. If you know what I mean, like to be an extra step. Like you know how every time a family said that I am now like this in my life. Now in your life, I want you to do extra step further and become have a better life.
okay.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Thanks for sharing. Let's go back to Vaishali to wrap her session, and then come back to Jnana Silva. Yeah,
I think
Vaishali.
I agree with Himani and Sivanjani. I think the best I mean, yeah, my competition is my own self. Though it's hard for me to accept it even now, and it's somehow easier for me to pit myself against people who are, who I see in school, who in my personal front as well. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, I'm never going to be happy if I keep comparing myself with other people, because we start from very different grounds with very different purposes as well. So I think, yeah, I think they said it very well. The best competition is myself.
Okay. So, what do you think is guiding you, shaping you? Because you seem to be, when you said initially about, when you talked initially about medicine, and when you talked like, well, from 5-year-old kid, this has been in my mind, and then it was frozen until I gone through all this time until what, JC1?
Yeah, I think started from Sec 4 to JC1.
Okay,
Yeah.
so until around that time period, and you said all this, but you have been going through this whole um, path of traveling from thinking that Vaishali at 5 years started thinking like, oh, Vaishali MBBS, right? And then the path went through, and you were at Sec 4 at your age of 16, 17, and then you started thinking about, is it really the right thing, right? But the way you carried everything, it was so much, as in it was guiding you. Literally, even though you were an extrovert, I was seeing some calmness in getting through, even though all these things were happening. Is there something that has been helping you with respect to uh, guiding yourself, and of course is going to guide yourself further as well?
Okay. So for me, I've been in meditation since I remember. So
Okay.
it's always been a lot of values have been imparted. I think meditation and yoga and all that is one aspect of it, but I think the shaping of who I am today is largely due to meditation. And I think it's not only meditation. Like there's so much, our guru imparts in terms of values, and kind of realizing that nothing is permanent. I think I wanted to bring that out before, but I just wanted to say that, a lot of times I feel like very sad or happy. All these feelings are very intense. And somehow I realize all these problems I have in my life, that, they are the biggest problem I could ever have in my life. But the thing is, I've realized this was when I was 12. Maybe the biggest issue I had was getting to a secondary school. But now I look back and I just start laughing because there was nothing compared to what I experience now. And it's going to be nothing. Whatever I experience now is going to be nothing when, what I'm going to be looking at when I'm 20 or 30. So that was something that meditation has. It's not like a one, something I learned from like one discussion or, a session, but it's been consciously there throughout my life. So at any point I feel doubtful of my capabilities or doubtful of what I'm doing, I think it keeps stirring you back to this path, um, that is what I feel like whenever I'm unsure of myself, it keeps stirring me to a path where I'm more comfortable and more confident of myself. And I think I have to thank my dad, especially my dad, because I think he we don't when we go for meditation, we learn these, we kind of hear all these kind of really really good concepts. We bring it home and then he discusses with me, he talks about it with me for a long time. We have discussions about it. Sometimes we are not on the same page about certain things, and then we kind of talk about it and reach a conclusion. And he's always been shaping me to be a confident person, a better person. So what I just wanted to say that I think I'm scared of problems. I don't like facing problems head on. Maybe that's my method of handling issues. I like to give it some time. I try to avoid the problem, which is what I think is a weakness, and then I'll slowly handle it. My dad is the opposite. He goes head on, he handles the issue, solves it, gets over with it. So I think with meditation, it kind of tells me to be more balanced as a person. I'm not saying whatever my dad does is correct or whatever I do is correct as well. I think I just try to take bits and pieces of it and then try to have a good mix of it when I'm trying to handle things. So I think meditation in general, and my parents also, they whatever they tell me is took it's like in part like taken from meditation, what they have learned. So I would kind of put them to the, they are all the same kind of things. So the it's just taught me to be more balanced as a person, and to step back, think before I do anything, and to also realize that this is all going to pass. And it's fine if you're not getting it now, maybe you'll get it later. And yeah, I think there's so much it has taught me, but I think these are things I still take with me till now.
That's very interesting. The way you put it across, mindfulness
Yeah,
is
correct.
the kind of state where you are training your mind to really get back whenever it deviates. We are yet to listen to Jnana Selvan. One thing that I have started listening from three of you in the first level, I'm getting that discipline of looking inward. The looking inward happens only when you practice something to train your mind. Mind is the bloody thing which wanders all over the place, right? And you brought up a fantastic point, and thanks to Guru on that, especially bringing that value, instilling that value at this younger age, starting so young. Um, I've been doing meditation. I kickstarted my meditation when I was in my 30s. But when you shared, you started so early. So at least you got something to really fall back in aligning your mind and get going. Any thoughts, Shivanjani or Himani?
Um,
Sorry, you can go.
okay. Um, the meditation part has helped me a fair bit when I'm trying to get my mind to put at one place, because it's very hard to kind of focus on things like as simple as studying. I need to focus on it, and I can't let my mind um walk. I can't possibly let my mind think of something else. And like, what am I going to do next? Okay, what after I finish studying, what am I going to do in the next hour? What am I going to watch? So that's how my mind goes, and I have to really control it. And sometimes meditation does help. Early in the morning, my dad forces me to do some breathing exercises, and for his sake, I do. And it does help me. It gets me up and going in the morning. I get a little bit more energetic. So I think it does help in my daily life. Another small thing that I would like to say is, like Vaishali, I don't like to face my problems. I always prefer walking around the bush, and if there's any way to avoid it, I'd avoid it. Um, and like your dad, my dad likes to face everything head on as well. I think it's like a dad thing. Like they just want to be heroic, and they just tend to face problems way better. So if I do want any kind of help from school, like if I need to face any major problems, I never expected in secondary school that I had to face so much drama and so much problems and get into so much trouble. And I've already in Sec 1, I got in trouble for climbing the windows, and I never thought I'd be someone who would be climbing my class windows. So I got DC for that. My school was not going to call my parents like, hey, your kid got DC. I thought they were going to do that because, I'm new. So I didn't want the information to come from my school as if like I was hiding something. I was trying to, but I couldn't. So I told my dad, and then he actually laughed it off at first, realizing how stupid I was. And then he told me that you can't possibly keep getting bad records like DC and stuff, because it's going to reflect in my poly and stuff like that. So he told me that, and okay, it's not a very big problem per se, because he did not have to face anything. I had to go for DC, but the thing was, he told me he was really happy that I brought up the problem to him, because I didn't know how to face it at first. Because do I go DC, or do I like I didn't know what to do at that point. Now it just seems kind of dumb, but I felt that it was so scary to go and tell my dad I got DC. Like, it was just the first few months of school, and yeah, well, he handled it pretty well. And I just need to mention that he's changed a lot through the years. As he mentioned, he was someone who was taping my brother's mouth so that he'd shut up. But now he's just so much cool, and it's just easy to open up to him. Like earlier, I talked about my friends getting into relationships and breaking up, and that kind of thing is not something that kids these days can open up to their Indian parents. I'm not saying I'm in a relationship or anything, but just the fact that your friends are getting into relationships and you can bring that up to your parents is kind of cool. Like I have a pretty cool dad. So I just wanted to put that out there.
I was not expecting this is coming. I have no bloody idea where this is coming from. But anyway, thank you. And what's making the huge difference is you all are leaders in your own self. You got to lead yourself, right? The way how the spread of life is happening, and what Shivanjani just shared is about, even though it was forced, she started seeing the difference whenever she does the morning 5-10 minutes sitting in the bed doing that relaxing mind with some breathing exercises, and just 5 minutes of closing the eyes doing a self-realizing meditation had been helping to keep that energy level. Well, I'm just mentioning that because she shared that with me. So this is something I really appreciate, how going forward this is shaping you. Himani, you had something to share as well.
I'll try to keep it short. So basically, going for meditation has helped me to overcome my fears per se. Like
Okay.
I'm very fearful to make all those major decisions in life, and I think those were, like, from what I shared earlier on, those were big decisions, and there's an uncertainty to every one of them. Like, I didn't know what was going to happen next, but going for meditation and like knowing Guru since I was kindergarten too, so like around 5-6 years old, it kind of gave me the like, I felt like I had something to fall back on. I have them to support me at every stage of my life, and like, I just felt that I'll be okay no matter what decision I make, no matter where I go. In the end, I will be okay because I have this support system, and they have taught me meditation that helps me calm myself down and ensure that I don't have to be fearful of all of this. It's just a small hurdle in my life. There's many more to come. I'll get through it. I'll be okay. So yeah, that's something major that I picked up from doing meditation for
Okay.
like a lot of this years. Yeah.
Good. Thanks. And then it kind of resonates with all of you, which is I'm very happy about, and I'm definitely very thankful to our Guru, right? And just to wrap up where I started questioning about Vaishali's towards the final end, she mentioned about comparing with people, right? So there is no right or wrong. Okay, what Jana Selvan said is it's not compare. He's not comparing, in my opinion, he's not comparing himself with his dad, but rather he's taking his dad as a role model. There's a bit of a difference between comparing myself to be better than somebody, like what Vaishali said. Oh, my classmates, I don't know how am I going to be better than this person. And then Himani, you also mentioned about these guys seem to be like in the IP situation in your JC. These guys are so much more knowledgeable. How am I going to compete with them, right? So it's a realization that every one of us get at some point of time that I have to be better than myself. Where am I? And I stopped doing things like kick off the procrastination, take action, be clear about my goal, start seeing things that I want to really achieve and make those really coming in me and making me happy, making me enjoy that level of satisfaction and keep doing and turn back. Hey, last year, how was I? And this year, how am I? What can I do to be better in the next 1 year's time? So that's kind of carrying everything in the sense that it's really making things so good as part of reflecting, as well as part of me being myself today, me being myself tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. With that, probably let's
Okay.
ask Jnana Selvan to.
So I can begin now.
Yes. Go on.
So you might hear our parents when I was younger. I would believe that every parents would have said that I want you to become a doctor, I want you to become an engineer, I want you to become a policeman or anything like that. But over the years, when you go primary school and secondary school, all of that changes. You ask yourself, what do I want to become in the future? So when I was in primary school, what I wanted to become was a scientist. But when I asked my mom, what is a scientist? She said that you only can become a scientist when you become a doctor. So I'm like, a scientist is a scientist, a doctor is a doctor. But then she always said, whatever you do, studies are important. But in my perspective, I really do not like studying that much. As to what Shivanjini has said, uh, secondary school, she wanted fun. So I wanted my life to have a little bit of more fun and less studying, if you know what I mean. But when I entered secondary school in Sec 1, Sec 2, I experienced fun. But when I come to Sec 3, I realized something. In life, everything is not fun. Uh, that's why, they say, uh, work hard, play hard in the present. In the future, you can play hard and work less. So when I heard that quote, I think I should work hard now. So yeah, and in the future, I really want to become a computer engineer. So yeah.
Okay. Good to hear that. Um, well, parents, all parents, are really wanting to their kids to succeed, right? That's a fundamental. And in certain situations, they think, well, two things happen. One, whatever that they wanted to do, which they were not able to do, they try to see that in their children. That's one. The other aspect is eventually they want the children to be successful, and they want to make sure that their responsibility of making the kids successful has been accomplished, right? Like what your mom said, when you go and ask your mom, I want to be a scientist, how should I be a scientist? And then she said, in order to be a scientist, you need to be a doctor, right? That there is no nothing wrong in it, because being a scientist is viewed as a lab scientist, right? So a laboratory pharmaceutical kind of a person is seen, perceived as a scientist for a longer time and duration. So scientists can be anything, and the way you looked at it is a scientist as someone who is inventing something, right?
Yeah,
In a
that's what I
bigger, broader picture. Okay, so that was something that you had in mind, and being in your mid secondaries, you still have time. Things can change. Uh, what you need to be really focusing on, I think you are already doing it, because now you start to feel like, I want to be a computer science engineer, computer science professional. And maybe something that you may want to ask yourself, probably I'm kind of taking you back to that picture that earlier I shared, ikigai, right? When you stand in the center of it, then you become ask these questions. When I become a computer science engineer, so to speak, with respect to a career profession that I want to choose, what is that I'm serving for my own interest? Is my real interest so much deep into computer science? If yes, ask, what have we been doing that is closer to computer science currently,
uh,
right? So let me just finish on that. So ask yourself that. That's the first thing, and then think about, how is the world moving? Yeah, maybe, probably digital world, and that's how it is going, and anything and everything is already computerized, and you still will have that. But computer science has so much more surrounding it: machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science, robotics, and I can keep building this, right? You can be in a pharmaceutical or a medical science line, still, you can still be a person who is a guru in computer science, right? So the opportunities are very wide, but what needs to happen probably is, this is an opportunity for you, as you heard from the other three, and your own um, inner self, whatever that is talking to you, with putting yourself in the center of the ikigai, and find all the four circles. Where am I really heading towards? What is my interest? Passion and interest and what you love to do is very important in the first place. And then look at the other two components. Outside world, is it going to be really sellable in the outside world? Can I make money? In certain situations, that's a need. But even though there is a need, even though you love doing what you want to be doing, and even though you have passion, you have skills in doing that, it may not generate income, right? When you don't have money, then you start going into this circle again about, am I really getting there where I want to go, right? You started getting clarity, which is very good. And what do you think about what is driving you? Where are you getting that clarity from? That's a question to you.
um, so the clarity is coming from many people. As you can see, the world is now going towards the electronic and computerized section.
Mhm.
So I thought, why not I become a computer engineer and see what I can do to make the world a better place. And so I've been researching about these kind of things. There's been many ideas and opportunity coming up. So in order to succeed on all of them, I need to work hard from now onwards and study in order to achieve all of that, all of my dreams.
Okay, fantastic. Let me just share 2 points here. One, that you said, I want to make and see the world a better place. You know what that is? If that is coming from your heart, and I'm sure that was coming from your heart, from your facial expression, that's your purpose. When you find that as your purpose, I want to make this happen for the world to be a better place, right? So when that is your purpose, and see what are the skills that you need to make your own value going in that direction, right? What you saw as in everything is being computerized, everything is more digitalized, and all these are really good. And you are also getting all those feedback that you are seeing from others. And earlier you mentioned that you want to be better than your dad, as in you're seeing him now as your role model, and you want to go one level above, one level higher, one level better, which is good. Okay, I won't say that's something that you should not be doing. That is something you should definitely do, because you need a baseline, and you're keeping somebody as a role model. But most important is you compare how you are progressing from yesterday. Are you better? Are you better yourself from yesterday's Selvan, or yesterday or 1 year back Selvan? Turn around and look back.
Yes.
When I was P6, what was I? And
Okay.
am I
I would
better
like
than that? Yeah, go
I
on,
would
go
love
on.
to say this. What Vaishali said about meditation, it also really helped my life.
Oh,
So as
okay.
you can see, during primary school, I was a mischievous guy. Every day there will be a phone call from teachers to my parents. Yeah. So after I went to meditation, all of that changed. My mindset changed. My behavior changed. Everything changed. So because of meditation, it has given me opportunity on how to make my life better and what to think and what not to think. Like uh, how to become more positive and not make the same mistake as what other people are doing. And uh, yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks for reflecting that. It looks like probably there is a commonality in quite a lot of things that, as the youngsters, that you are doing. We have Himani, who is at uh, uni. Probably in a couple of years, she is going to be completing her uni, going to her next level of education or into the career, right? And we have yourself, who is in the mid layers of secondary, and all of you in the Gen Z category, but moving the world to the next level. What I have been seeing, which is your previous generation, is Gen Y, which is millennials as well, who are already in the job market as part of workforces. They are exploring things. The mindsets have been changing slowly, which is good. And also, one thing that I again wanted to highlight and reiterate is that each and every one of us have our own leaders inside and our own interest inside. When you start aligning yourself within your own self inwardly, that's going to bring more better tomorrow for you, as well as a contribution to the society, community, and environment that we are going to be building as the next generation of leaders. So just to reflect, so many points came out today, right? I'm just going to kind of call out few things which were a really great takeaway, in my opinion. Okay. Um, First up is everyone really understood, and it's very refreshing to me to really hear from all of you that everyone, whenever you talked about, you may not use this word purpose or meaning, but that's what you have been talking about when you start really relating where you started, where you want to go. So the purpose was very clear. You talked about resources here and there, but I just wanted to highlight, having resources is one thing, being resourceful is another thing. Making use of the resources or contributing in a way, and that was reflected as well. And very important point, had been that I found all of you are so responsible. So your responsibility and self-reflection started showing off in the conversation, and also it was so nice to see uh, referring to other person saying that, hey, it's like I'm seeing, Vaishali said, I'm seeing a portion of me in Shivanjani, and Himani started talking about things that was reflecting certain things that Vaishali said. So it's it's that bits and pieces of us are reflected in others. When you start doing such type of sharing, discussing, it reassures all of us that what I'm doing is the correct thing for me, and I learn from others and move forward with that. And last but not least, you all touched about mindfulness. I'm calling it mindfulness because mind is the biggest weapon, and it has two sharp edges. How you use it is up to you, up to me, right? Practicing meditation brings so much of discipline, so much of calmness in us, and that is also helping us move where we literally want to move towards. Okay, it has been very wonderful for me. Probably I will just go around the table, and if you have any final um, points or shares that you want to share about, please go ahead and share that. And first up, let me start with myself. I'm very happy and glad that we got together to discuss, and extremely happy that none of you were worried about being vulnerable in sharing what you just openly shared today. That's fantastic. Be yourself, and being yourself is going to really help where you want to go, how you want to achieve. And certainly we're going to be in touch with anything that you feel like discussing. I'm available anytime, and we can do that chit chatting. So let's go around the table. Probably we will start with Vaishali.
I think thank you for giving me this opportunity. First of all, I didn't realize how, you know, refreshing and relieving it would be for me personally. I think all these things I've thought about in my head, but to voice it out and um, to actually express it in words, I think it's very like it's like a huge weight lifted off me also. And as for hearing about the rest, I think I've never realized that, I used to think, oh, it's probably just me going through these insecurities or struggles, but to realize that, the rest also have felt, similar feelings. I think it's very nice to know that, yeah, we are all alike in one way or another, and we are all in the same journey, I guess. So it's really nice to hear from the rest as well, and to also hear refreshing like perspectives. I think Shivanjani brought out very different perspectives for me. The way she handles or thinks about certain things, I think I don't do that. So thank you for sharing. It was really refreshing for me. So I think so for the rest. So yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you, Vaishali. Very nicely put. Imani?
Same thing. I would also like to thank everyone for giving me this judgment-free environment, where you can just voice out whatever you feel and your own thoughts. Like, there was no need to be afraid, and like you said, you could just be yourself. And it was, yeah, and like Vaishali said as well, it was very refreshing to hear different opinions, because everyone undergoes different experiences, and we think and react to those differently. So it was definitely refreshing. And also, I didn't think that I would approach such situations the same way any of the other three would have, but it gave me a new perspective to things. And I'd like to thank them for that, for sharing those aspects as well. And also to, to spend like, it's almost close to 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, to spend your time talking and calmly listening to everything. So thank you for organizing this as well.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Because every session, whatever session it is, and whoever is in that session, I learn a lot. I learn 4 times more than probably what you folks have been learning here. The reason is it's one thing that experience brings, but it's the totally another angle when there's a different generation talking about what they are going through. right? So it's really fantastic experience, and then thanks for contributing. Thank you, Himani.
Thank you.
Shivanjani.
This is my second session with my dad and Yana Selvan. Um, such sessions really gives me a different perspective of what people think of in various situations, and I also get to share my point of views, which may seem different, or I can relate to another person in one another way. I also think I've seen a very, very different side of you guys, because this is not what we see in our daily lives. And even if we get to meet up, I don't think we get a chance to talk or anything. So this has been wonderful, and it was great to see the inner y'all.
Wow, cute. Different sides of different sides of other people reflected here, and I like the way what and how Imani put it, non-judgmental environment. I love that because being a coach, that's one thing that I am extremely cautious about when somebody start coming out with an issue or something that they are concerned about. Um, not being judgmental is really helpful to draw things out from that person. So thanks for highlighting that. Jnana Selvan.
Um, During this session, I did not share much points, but when I hear others' experiences, it made me reflect of what I can do in my life. So thank you very much, Uncle, and everybody else who participated in this session. And I have learned so many things of what I can do. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. It's not that you did not share so much. Whatever that you shared, that's a reflection. It can be just one thing. Okay. Something that I learned over a period is that sometimes I do some seminars and workshops thinking that there are going to be 10, 20, 30, 50 people. At times, one that I did like about 4 or 5 days back, it was nighttime. And because it was nighttime, there was only one person turned up. Guess what? It was a 1 hour session. We literally did almost 1.5 hours. And I was sharing about management tactics in the area of delegation and remote management. And she had so many questions and clarifications. We recorded. And afterwards, when it was posted, almost 17, 18 people just in the following day found it so helpful and useful. So who is there is immaterial, that's one thing. And how much you're talking is also immaterial. It's a self-reflection that you did share, Jana Selvan, and you heard from people who have gone through this. That's going to be kind of some reflective some reflective thing for you specifically as you move to your next steps. That's a reassurance as well, right? And well, just to give that compliment to Jnana Selvan and Shivanjani, and more to Jnana Selvan, because when we finished our previous session, almost 1.5 months, I think, back, he said, are you going to continue do such kind of a thing? I want to be in your next session. Wow. That was a motivation he gave me. Honestly, I was literally not thinking, am I going to be doing with this circle of people, right? But that was a motivation, and thanks to Jana Silvan. Um, what we are doing here, and I'm very open to continue this if there is really interest. I would think there will be interest, but certainly either this or I can run things where I start sharing something and we get involved in a conversation. That's going to be really useful. It achieves two things. What Shivanjani said, get to know people. This is what connection is all about. When you get to know people, you get out of your comfort zone, start talking, start speaking up. Okay. I can definitely say Shivanjani may not have spoken to Himani or Vaishali about what she was going through in Arasakesari temple, in the temple hall, right? That will never ever happen. But now it is a very small group of people, and like what Himani said, non-judgmental. We are here to share. We are here to learn. We are here as one another, supporting each other. That's a conducive environment. I'm seeing myself really helping in those areas, bringing that together. Um, I have no bloody idea why I started doing this in the last 2 3 months, slowly, with individuals, and the group thing is only happening with a very small, tiny little group. But the purpose, going back to Ikigai, the purpose is to make some impact. How small it is in material, right? As we journey, we learn. As we journey, we share, and together we grow. Thanks very much.